Alright, so you clicked on this video hoping for a condensed and clear overview of Throne and Liberty. You want to know what systems and gameplay to expect when you jump into this game. And so that's exactly what I'm going to give you. Perhaps you're completely new to the game and just starting out, or maybe you've already reached endgame and are just wondering if this is a good video for beginners. Or maybe you can also just learn something new out of this. So, I will preface this by saying I didn't play in any kind of open betas. Throne and Liberty, first and foremost, is a free-to-play MMO. So with it, you can expect a free-to-play model of grinding. Lots of early materials in the beginning. Just by playing through the main story quests, it's going to give you a huge boost to your character and help you get all of your gear up so that you can start playing in the end game and start grinding for better gear. But then, once you've exhausted all of the content and all of the MSQ quests, those resources are going to come to a grinding halt and the real grind begins. So afterwards, you can expect to log into the game every day to complete your typical MMO daily tasks, things like killing open world enemies, dungeon runs, field bosses, and dynamic scheduled events. And also there are some PvP things as well, but in this video I won't really be going into the PvP aspect in this game and focusing mainly on the PvE and the grinding aspect of it. So basically you can expect an RNG grind for gear whenever you complete a boss. It's all just random chance on whether you get the loot that you want. Now, whether you consider this RNG good in this game or bad is completely subjective. You'll have to experience that for yourself. However, I will say that this game does provide a decent amount of single player content if that is your jam. Collectibles to find in the open world, as well as a ton of side quests. And surprisingly, some of those side quests are pretty fun and more than just a typical fetch quest. Definitely try to experience them from time to time while playing through the MSQ. Guarantee you it's definitely going to make your experience a lot funner. And like I mentioned earlier, this game features a ton of PvP actually, which I haven't personally delved into very deep yet. But anyway, I won't be covering too much of it in this video. The gearing in Throne and Liberty is actually a very straightforward system as well. There is some RNG to it. However, it's not super egregious like other free-to-play MMOs. It will require a ton of resources though, so you're definitely going to have to commit to a class and stick with it throughout your entire time in Throne and Liberty unless you create an alternate character. You may be able to pivot into another class by just switching out one of your weapons, but it's still going to take a ton of resources. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive a little bit deeper. We're going to start with just how you level up in this game, and the quickest way to level up in this game is going to be doing the MSQ, just like most other MMO games. By blowing through the MSQ, you're going to hit level 50 fairly quickly. I was able to do it in about 24 hours of in-game time at a very leisurely pace, also doing side quests and just walking around and exploring the world. There are also level gates for each quest. You must meet them before tackling the next chapter. And so what should you do if you aren't at the required level when you reach a particular chapter? Well, first off, there are several ways to get EXP, and the first way to do that is through side quests. If you head over to your codex, you can go to the exploration page, and you can see all of the side quests there are for each region in the game. For example, at the very start of the game, the Golden Rye Pastures, you've got a couple of side quests here. There's two. You go on to the next area, there's about 4 quests. And it will explain to you exactly how many legs there are to that quest, as well as all of the rewards that you get for doing it. Now, since I've already completed these side quests, it doesn't say how much XP you would have gained, but it should tell you how much XP you would gain by completing a side quest. And the side quests do indeed scale, so in the very beginning, you get less XP and less solent, which is the common currency in this game. It's basically like gold. Versus when you start going towards the higher level areas, then you start getting more EXP. There are several other ways that you can track this as well. You can open up your map and find all of the quests by just clicking on the region. So for example, here in Phonos Basin, I can see here that I have several side quests by going to the available content. I have 4 side quests that I can still do in this area. And then another way is by pressing the N key if you're on the PC version of this game. I don't know what it is if you are on console. Then you can go ahead and go over to the Exploration Codex and go ahead and take a look at all of your available side quests. These are all of your active side quests as well. So you'll be able to basically see everything in one spot here. This is a pretty nice way to check. The next thing that you can do is finding a contract manager in a town. Every town should have a contract manager, and they also will give you contracts that are specific to that level. So right now I am in a end game area, so the level of this contract is level 50. So definitely these are the best contracts you want to do because it gives you the best reward. So basically it's the best bang for your buck in essence. But of course, as you're playing through the game, you can't actually, hit level 50 contracts right away. So a lot of people will recommend you to not do your contracts until you hit max level. However, I will say that it depends on how fast you plan to play this game. If you're rushing to level 50 and think you can hit level 50 within like a day or two, then definitely save it. Do your contracts once you hit level 50. But if you're taking your time, then just do it at the highest level zone that you can. The reason for this is because you have a cap on how many resources you can maintain. And basically, you have a cap of 60 and you cannot go above this. Every day, on the server reset time, you get 10 contract rights. It is explained in these tooltips right here, so you can always check if you forget. You can only accept 5, but anyway, if you go a couple days without playing the game and you start recharging past 60, that means you're being inefficient with your material gain and your progress. So it is highly recommended to always be below 60 before logging out of the game. Now you can have 59 contract rights, and then when it resets, you'll have 69. So as long as you're below 60, you should be good. Now, as for the rewards here, this precious blessing pouch is a really good reward. So whenever you see this, you should definitely try to take it. As well as I've noticed in the end game area, you can get 2 areas for the contracts. So for example, we have Shattered Temple here and Pure Light Hill. When you're going through and choosing your contracts, I would definitely choose all of your contracts in the same area so you can tackle them all at once and just be really efficient with your time. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and accept this one. And I'm going to go ahead and refresh because I just want to see if I can get another one of those. But anyway, I'm going to stick to Pure Light Hill. Gathering items in Pure Light Hill is pretty easy. Also, killing monsters is pretty easy. Doing the interactables is pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and accept this one and then refresh and just see if we can get more. Look at that. I got another blessing pouch, so I'm definitely going to go ahead and take that. Then refresh this. Okay, so I didn't really get anything great. I got a killing one, another killing one. This one is another investigation one. So this one's pretty easy. And I think that one actually overlapped with my other contracts. So we might be able to just get 2 in 1. Gatherables, activate the old. Okay, no. They were 2 interactables, but they're 2 different ones. But I think you get the idea. Just try to be efficient with your time. The next available content in this game is called a co-op dungeon. The official name for this is Dimensional Circle. This is basically your 6-player dungeons where you go through a dungeon, do some mechanics, you fight a boss, and then you can claim rewards. I believe that this will unlock once you hit chapter 4 in the story. And the first one you're going to encounter is the Specter's Abyss, and then you'll get Roaring Temple and Cave of Destruction as you level up level 20, level 30, level 40. Now, in order to claim your rewards for this dungeon, you have to consume a special type of token or currency called Dimensional Contract Tokens. This is the purple hooded icon here that you can see at the top of your screen. This is kind of shown pretty much everywhere. Anyway, you have to spend a certain amount of these in order to claim your rewards, and it will tell you how much you have to spend for each dungeon. So the level 50 ones, they cost 300, and then the lower level ones, they definitely cost a lot less. Anyways, you recharge 900 of these every day, up to a cap of 4,500. So if you do the math, this will cap after 5 days of not doing your co-op dungeons. So definitely try not to let this cap. Otherwise, again, you're being somewhat inefficient with your resource gain. And since you get 900 every day, this means that you should or can do 3 of these runs every day. Or again, just save it up for the week and then just tackle it all over the weekend. Something like that. Next up are open world dungeons. So open world dungeons is another type of dungeon in the game where they recommend you to have at least 4 players, but you can also, just max out your party size to just make things go smoother. And I believe that this mechanic also opens up at around chapter 4. By killing monsters in the dungeon, you'll get tons of drops and rewards. And the tokens that you need in order to get those drops are called Abyssal Contract tokens. But first off, there are several open world dungeons in the game that range from pre-level 50 to level 50. So, if you want to dip your toes into open world dungeons before hitting the level cap, then you should definitely do them, because the rewards for non-level 50 open world dungeons really aren't worth too much, except for maybe completing your lithograph book, which could give you some nice rewards. But otherwise, their rewards aren't super amazing, and it's definitely not end game gear. So, for example, we have the Temple of Silivith, which is a level 29 to level 30 dungeon. We have Ant's Nest, which is a level 35 to 39. And then we have some endgame ones called Sanctum of Desire and Sarodoma Island, which are level 50. Then we also have Silas's Abyss, which is the first one that you unlock. So the first couple floors are lower level 20. Third and fourth floors are high 40s. And then the fifth and sixth floors are level 50. And then likewise, you have the Shadowed Crypt, which is level 50 done. So you definitely want to do this when you have time. You don't want to cap out on these Abyssal Contract tokens, so try to burn them when you can. So how exactly do you get these? Well, you get these by completing the co-op dungeons and also by doing contracts. And then also just by playing the game. They'll give you some items that you can turn into. So here we have Abyssal Contract token points, so you can just kind of get this wherever. There's lots of different types of activities in this game reward this. But the main ways you're going to gain this is by doing contracts. So you can see here by doing this, I get 50 token points. And if we go to co-op dungeons, you can see that you get 500 Abyssal Contract token points. So you'll definitely be getting a lot of those. So just don't forget to burn it. Now let's go over the different types of currency in this game, because I am sure you're going to be very overwhelmed when you first start off this game because there's just so much. So the first currency in this game is the common currency, basically the gold, and that's the solent. You get this from doing literally everything: quests, killing monsters, contracts. All that stuff gives you solent. And solent is used for everything in the game. So leveling up, teleporting, upgrading gear, upgrading skills, everything takes solent. So yeah, like the game says, this is the common currency and you'll be doing this all the freaking time. Next up in the game is called Lucent. This is the paid currency in this game because it is a free-to-play model, so they need to make their money somehow. And this is the currency that you can use in the shop or in the auction house. The auction house sells lots of gear and endgame traits that you need in order to build your best in slot character. So, of course, there are going to be people that are arguing that this is a pay-to-win game because you can buy Lucent and then just buy all of your gear without actually playing the game. I personally don't think that this is a pay-to-win game. There are definitely some good gates that prevent people from just straight up buying everything that they need. But at the end of the day, this is a paid currency, and they indeed have a shop that you can pay real money in order to get an advancement on your character. There's also battle passes and premium leveling passes to help you get more and more materials in order to level up and progress your character. And then again, like I mentioned earlier, you got your dimensional contract tokens and your abyssal contract tokens. This is for your co-op dungeons in order to claim your rewards at the end of a dungeon and killing the boss. And your abyssal contract tokens are used whenever you kill a mob in an open world dungeon, which allows them to give you drops. Not much else to say about this because I explained the whole mechanic behind them already. As you can see, yes, there are 4 types of currencies here that can somewhat overwhelm you when you start the game. There's another type of currency that we should talk about, and that's the contract coin. So whenever you complete a contract, you're going to get some contract coins. You can see here that I get 30 contract coins from completing this, and this is also redeemed by a very special NPC that takes this currency specifically. So if I head over to Vienta Village here, there is a contract coin merchant that specifically you can spend your contract coins. So you got mystic keys. I like to buy these mystic keys because when you're exploring around, there are mystic globes that you can bind and then get some rewards out of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and purchase this right now. And then some really good things that you want to consider buying towards the end game are these trait extraction stones and enchanted ink. These are going to be really important to help you get lucent, but I won't really be explaining that in this video. Just know that these two are really good. They are at a weekly limit, so you're not in any kind of rush or anything like that. Everything else here is a daily limit just for, your overall character progression. You got your greens, your blues, and your purples. Purples are quite rare, but you might want to consider picking these up if you have a lot of contract coins. Fishing bait is also a daily limit. You might want to consider that if you want to get into fishing. Totally your choice, if you want to experience everything in the game. It's not like you have to do fishing. There are some good things that come out of fishing. There are more currencies in the game. So if we go over to the guild merchant, there is a specific guild coin. So when you join a guild, you get guild coins that you can spend on some stuff. Mana regen potions, some recovery crystals, etc., etc. So other than that, I think that is most of the currencies in the game. And hopefully that kind of clears things up and makes things a little bit easier to understand. Actually, I forgot one more currency, and that's called the ornate coins. You get these from usually Amazon. They'll give it to you whenever there's like maintenance as kind of like a gift and as an apology. And you can kind of spend these on this section right here, ornate coins. So if you click on the ornate coins, and it's just, more stuff that you can get. You got your growth stones, you got a blessing pouch, you got trait extraction stones, you got some amatoys. So kind of spend this on, I guess, whatever you really feel like. There are a lot of people recommending that you buy this precious blessing pouch, but I personally don't like the RNG aspect of this. And it's quite expensive at 45. Whereas with the trait extraction stone, this one's kind of basically more guaranteed to extract a trait that you get, or even enchanted ink. Of course, all this stuff you can get from the contract manager as well. In my opinion, just get whatever you feel like here, whatever you need at the moment. If you feel like gambling, go ahead and grab this precious blessing pouch. You very well do have a chance to get a really good purple item out of this. So, and it's all up to you. I just personally like more guaranteed outcomes out of the currencies that I spend. There is another thing that you should be doing every day, or at least weekly. For this one's weekly. And basically, these sundries merchants, they sell contract scrolls. So you basically always want to pick these up. Weekly limit of 6 for each. So you've got some for Taydal's Tower, and then you got one for Lasland and Stoneguard. And this just gives you more contracts that you can complete for more rewards. That's basically all it is. You can see that I've kind of got a bunch here. Some of these I can't activate yet because I haven't actually unlocked the area, but let's see if I can kind of show you guys what it is. Right here, contract scrolls. So right now I have 4 contract scrolls, all for the crypt, shadowed crypt, and they'll give me some good rewards out of this. See if I can take a look at it. Yeah, so I get the blessing pouch, some abyss currency, and some stones. Again, another blessing pouch. All of these are giving blessing pouches, actually. I just noticed that, so that's kind of pretty nice. So definitely grab that weekly. And you basically just activate it. You just right click and you just use it. Next up are dynamic events. So basically, when you open up your map and head over to the timetable section, you'll see some events that are happening on a schedule. These are your field bosses and then your dynamic events. These give you some good rewards and also some good loot. So you'll definitely want to look at the loot drop tables for these bosses to see what you want. Find a guide out there that tells you what kind of gear you're trying to find and figure out what bosses you want to farm. You can see here that these dynamic events give you some decent rewards like magic powders, and you can see all the rewards for all of these events at any time by just opening up your map and taking a look at this tab. You'll probably be wanting to do the higher level ones just because they give you, better rewards. They give you these rare magic powders, which is used for almost all types of crafting. So Next up, let's talk very quickly about gearing. This is going to be a very high level overview of it because this is a very in-depth topic that we can spend a lot of time on. So this is going to be the quick version. Basically, how gearing works in Throne and Liberty is that you go from green to blue to purple to tier 2 purple. We know this because of Korean servers where the game's been out for a lot longer now, and they could potentially even go into orange or gold gear soon. So that's really all it is. It's that simple. And you use the corresponding growth stone in order to level up. So if I go ahead and go over to the equipment enchanting section, you can see if I click this, it's a green, so it takes a quality weapon growth stone of the green variety. If I go here, you can see it takes a purple variety. If I go to my blue, it takes a blue variety. And you can see that it's broken down into 3 different types. So that means there are 3 different types of growth stones. One for your weapon, one for your armor, one for your accessories. That simple. It seems like there's a lot of different types of growth stones, but when you kind of understand how the equipment is organized and broken down into, then it becomes super, super, super simple. So yeah, you can see I have no rare armor growth stones anymore. It basically took all of my growth stones to get all of my blue pieces here up to level 9, which is the maximum for a level blue, and for a green it's level 6. Basically, all you do is just feed all of your growth stones until it reaches max level. And this is kind of where RNG comes into play. So sometimes it might take 5 steps in order to get that level up. Sometimes it might take 1 step. Sometimes it might take 2 or 3 steps. This is where the RNG kind of comes into play. And then there is a transfer system. So basically, this is how you transition from green to blue to purple. You basically feed your green gear into your blue gear. So let's say that I have a level 6 green weapon and I want to transition it into a blue. I simply unequip the weapon and feed the weapon into the new weapon. Feed my old weapon into the new weapon. And what that's going to do is that it's going to give it 100% of the materials equipment. And since blues require more XP, it's only going to be level 3, not level 6. But that gives you, or at least gets you, part of the way there, and you don't lose all the XP that you used on your greens. Anyway, that is the simple version of this gearing up system. Hopefully that made some sense. And now skills, they basically follow the same exact thing. You can see here, it just takes a different type of material. It just takes a growth book. And they're broken up between active skills and passive skills. So you have a active skill growth book and you have a passive skill growth book. So 2 types of books. Again, once you kind of understand how it's separated, you understand how the materials work. So anyway, guys, that's Throne and Liberty, basically in a nutshell. And hopefully you now understand what your day-to-day is going to look like when you play this game. In summary, it's basically doing contracts to get contract coins, to spend that for more resources to progress your character, doing co-op dungeons to get the gear to progress your character, doing open world dungeons to get more drops, to again craft materials and resources to help progress your character, all those growth stones and the like, and then also doing these timed events for more gear and for more resources. And as I'm closing here, I totally completely forgot to mention the secret dungeon mechanic in this game. And this is basically a solo content that features 20 floors and a bunch of bosses that gives really good one-time rewards. And this kind of relates to the contracts because, again, this Sundries merchant, they sell you these Taydal Tower contracts. And basically, they just have you re-challenge one of those bosses for extra rewards. Forgot to mention that. But anyway, that should wrap up this video. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe for more Throne and Liberty content. I'm definitely enjoying this game a lot, so I think that I will be making more content for it. Thanks for your time, and leave a like if you made it this far. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.